So it wasn't the worst Raw ever.
Welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I'm your host, Liz, and this is our Raw podcast. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Marcus, and this is our Raw podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It wasn't the worst Raw. We've had worse. Like last week's. We got 2 women's matches, 2 that actually seem to have pretty good booking.
It's such a shame because a 6-woman tag match would have been so good.
Mm-hmm.
If it weren't for that, if it weren't, not sure why my mouth just gave out on me there. If it weren't for the unfortunate distraction that happened. I mean, it didn't affect the match, but still.
Right. It was stupid, but everything in the ring was great.
True.
Charlotte and Mandy was fun too. Had a fun storyline behind it.
Yeah. 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 Alright, yeah.
Braun and Drew was pretty decent.
It could have been worse, but Braun almost did kill Drew. I think he's boring, but I don't hate him.
I'm wondering where they're going to go with the Backlash match now, because Drew got pinned. Drew got pinned. Clean. And so I think Drew's not going to win at Backlash because of that. Braun seems like the likely contender now. But also, I don't think they would put the belt on Braun.
There is a reality where Bobby keeps the title.
Right. He could retain. He could. I don't know. I think the match is more up in the air than ever. And I like it. I like it. More interesting.
I have been actively functioning since 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
By that, I mean I've literally not stopped doing shit.
Okay.
This episode just fucking took the stuffings out of me, man. Like a little Build-A-Bear teddy bear before they plug it into the machine.
Also, 3rd Raw in a row where we have not seen AJ and Omos.
I wonder if one of them got hurt.
I thought I heard something about Omos getting hurt, but I mean,
Doing what?
I don't know.
Exactly.
But AJ is somebody who they would not sit off camera. And Omos got a huge pop from the crowd. Huge.
And I mean, it's not exactly like Xavier and Kofi are doing anything worthwhile with their storyline.
Right. I just wonder if maybe because there's no real contenders for the title, but also if that's the case, just have them come on and do promos.
What about Mason T-Bar? They're big, strong boys.
They're dealing with their own thing. I feel like once they're done with Drew, they're gonna then be in the tag scene officially. Just like how Randy and Riddle will now be in the tag scene officially after today.
We ease ourselves into the disappointment, or we just...
It's Raw. It's one big disappointment.
Yeah.
Unless you, tailor your expectations.
I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
I think the moment I started finding Drew boring, that was when it became slog for me.
Right. Because That's like the main storyline is Drew constantly. They can't
Yeah,
focus away from Drew.
and for a while I was like, oh, I really like Drew. Like, I think he's really fun, and I think he's hot as shit. But like, my eyes were open, and I kind of wish they were still closed. All right, want to get into the news?
Sure. Putting your hood up. All right. It's Sikla's hours.
It feels safe within my hood. Also, I just want everyone to know that on top of me having functioned for a very long time today, I've worn jeans through it all, and this is like the most I've worn jeans for the last year, and I want to cry. I'm miserable.
I also want to remind everyone I will not be on tomorrow's podcast for NXT. Liz will be soloing it. And then the next NXT podcast I will probably be dead for. Not literally, but not feeling great because I'm going to have my second dose of the vaccine, so I'll probably feel like shit the entire podcast.
You'll probably feel fine. It's the 5th that you'll feel like shit.
I'll probably start feeling something that night.
I was run down. Like, I felt tired after the second dose.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel sick.
I'll get that vaccine brain where the microchip starts to set in.
Bill Gates starts to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll start to see his nudes popping up.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. That didn't happen to me, but like maybe it was just in the fever dreams that I forgot.
No, I want to see him. That's why I'm getting it.
All right. And as long as Bill is fine with it, then I support you and him.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anyways, news.
News.
Let me just pull up the news. Yeah, how they do it in news studios and such. I curated the news today for my brand new stationary peddler type bike situation. It was very girl boss of me. I just want everyone to understand that.
It's disgusting.
I know. Right. Let's start with non-WWE news, which is something funky is happening over at Impact.
Oh?
Something a little funky. Specifically, they released a promo for Impact Slammiversary, which is happening in July. And several wrestlers that were recently released by the WWE appear in said promo. It's just a GIF. You can see it on their Twitter. It features several shots of Samoa Joe.
Hell yeah.
Chelsea Green and Mickie James.
It's interesting that they've teased that already since, there's that non-compete clause.
I mean, some of them may have been released without the non-compete. It's happened before. I think that happened with Andrade.
And some of them, I know with Mojo Rawley, it was like 90 days since your contract was up, and his contract was up in like March.
Yeah. And the slogan for Slammiversary, it seems, is "Our world changes again."
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, last night's pay-per-view, Rebellion, was sick as fuck.
That's what I heard.
So, turns out we will probably be watching this. I'll pay the $40 to see Samoa Joe fucking wrestle. I don't give a shit. By July, I should have been paid a couple of times. I'll have money. Really?
But what I would kill is see Samoa Joe versus Kenny Omega and take the Impact and TNA title off of him. Give him back at Impact. Maybe even the AEW belt. Winner take all.
Alright. Sure. Yeah. apparently also after Kenny Omega defeated Rich Swann last night, called out Will Ospreay for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
He wants everything. He wants everything.
It's just... I guess Kenny Omega is like getting the biggest push in the world.
Honestly, he's gonna become like the biggest wrestler of all time. That's what they're building him up to be.
Good for him.
And then just wait until he starts losing all of them. But like, just imagine next he goes for Darby Allin and the TNT title, and then after that he goes for Brian Cage and the FTW title, which is legit just used in case somebody has to back out of the match.
Odd. What title from AEW does he have?
The AEW World Championship.
That's like the USA title.
Wait,
no, the Universal.
You mean Kenny Omega?
Yeah.
No, that's like the WWE title.
Then what does Darby have?
That's the TNT title, which is like, it's the mid-card title.
Oh. I don't know shit. I thought that he was like the big champion of everything, but then I always forget that Kenny's the champion, so it's like...
No. That's why Darby's challenging every week.
Gotcha.
Mid-card
Alright,
guys.
so who's he fighting this week?
Preston Vance.
That's 10 for Preston. Love that firm. Oh man. Speaking of title belts, Mark Carrano was accused of stealing title belts.
I heard in there's that Q&A on Reddit where this guy, his wife was engaged to Mark Carrano. And then a lot of people asked him if his wife knew about Mark Carrano hiding the belts under his bed. He had no idea. Like he didn't want to go based off rumor or anything, but apparently it's like a thing that's been actually rumored about for a while.
Mark Carrano's a fucking piece of shit. Like, this is like, what? This is so next level.
Honestly, if we had like a copy of the UPF championship, I'd hold on to that. I'd steal that.
But you run the company, basically.
Yeah.
That would be like...
Well, no, in kayfabe you do.
I own the company, and you're... you're not my boyfriend. I don't know. But that would be almost like one of the guys that we have doing commentating. That's the
Commentation.
I'm on my last brain cell. But like it'd be like one of the guys like that does commentary for us, stealing the belt and hiding it.
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
One thing I
saw
wonder,
that story and I was like,
is it just like a random belt that he took, or a random belts, or were they like meant for somebody? Like, do they have just stashes of belts in storage meant to just give out to people?
I imagine they have to, because 9 times out of 10 they show them changing the nameplates. I'm sure that they're not like, oh hey, do you want to like hang on to this belt with the sweat of a million men?
Yeah, I know the Miz has all of his past belts hung up in his house.
So they probably keep it in Connecticut somewhere.
Yeah, each wrestler probably gets like one copy of each one that they win. Like, I'm sure Randy doesn't have like 14 WWE titles.
Might. I mean, the thing is, what I imagine happens is it looks like the same belt, obviously, but I'm sure what happens is you win, loser keeps their belt, you get a brand new replica with different nameplates. It always looks the same, but it always looks new.
I don't know. I think you win the title, you get to keep the belt, but then the one you carry around is, well, that would still be yours, but like whenever you win a title, you kind of get a fresh one. But anyone who loses their title can't show theirs on TV anymore.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, you just keep it at your house after that.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of title belts, I like segueing. Um, so the WWE is considering, after all of our commentary on it, is considering opening a physical Hall of Fame once more. Apparently, Trips explained this to Pete Rosenberg. It's like not how you think. Trips wants to consider opening up a physical Hall of Fame at some stage with 3D technology.
Oh,
I don't know if that means like cool holograms of old wrestlers
maybe?
or in my head, okay, and this is stupid, so I understand, but in my head, that phrase makes me feel like he wants to 3D build, like using one of those 3D builders, physical Hall of Fame. I know, Pepita, I know that's stupid.
No, I think he wants to do like holograms of old wrestlers, something like that.
So the quote goes on to say, why are you yelling? Glass, you fall down a well? Okay.
I heard that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm being yelled at. Once he wants to make it interactive. Um, he wants to make it like Disney. Basically, he says.
Sounds stupid, but I just want him to make like the baseball Hall of Fame, but for wrestling.
I feel like just like doing like a nice classic thing, like that's how you honor like a sport. I feel
Like a wrestling museum.
yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
should just open up. Well, no, because WWE would never do that. Like just a wrestling museum. But it would be cool, like if WWE just like has displays of like all of the belts, like every belt that they've ever had. That would be so cool.
Awesome, like a nice
Yeah.
hall of fame, you could even say.
I mean now. Oh wait, they've got that show on A&E now, which is like the Triple H. I think it's Triple H and Stephanie McMahon do like the relics of wrestling kind of thing.
I want to watch it. Like it sounds stupid, but I want to watch it.
Yeah, it sounds like Pawn Stars, but just wrestling stuff. Um, but I feel like that's kind of the start of a wrestling Hall of Fame, like Kane's original mask, which they just found. I
Oh,
don't know.
really?
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch it. Do you want something? She like reached up to touch me and then started licking her paw to wash her face.
Hmm.
Um. Anyways, so Supreme Court declined to hear arguments to resurrect the WWE concussion lawsuits. Um, this means it's like fully closed. Um, I don't.
On the net. I think I got it.
Okay. Um, this was a final attempt from Konstantin Kiros. His arguments re-looked at, but apparently the Supreme Court just said no, fuck you. Now he has to pay restitution to the WWE. That's like, I don't know, man. WWE is pretty complacent in a lot of the concussion stuff that happened to wrestlers in the good old days.
I mean, we just watched Miz's 24 where they showed off his concussion against
Luckily,
John
he got
Cena.
medical help, but like back then they didn't know anything about concussions, so like they're just like, "Oh, you good? Okay,
Yeah.
because you can fucking say your name."
Yep. But at least they banned the pile driver.
Hey. Final piece of news is I don't know how true this is now. I guess the real reason, because Dave Meltzer decided to open his big fat mouth, said that the reason Charlotte was suspended from TV was because she was getting a full makeover.
Okay.
Hang on. The real reason, or so it seems, the real reason was because she had to get dental work done. I think they didn't know like what that was going to entail.
Dental surgery normally in wrestling is code for cosmetic surgery. I found this out recently. But considering Charlotte Flair is very open about when she's getting cosmetic surgery, it's probably actually dental surgery. Especially since we just saw her today. And you can get dental surgery and still like wrestle while you're going through it, unlike cosmetic surgery.
As the dentist is drilling into your tooth?
Yeah. Like they had the dentist backstage right when Charlotte came out.
But it's like it's just so silly. And like tonight kind of just proved that's not the case. And even Andrade had some shit to say about it. He was like, I show her without makeup on. I show her when she's sleeping. Like, just saying like that she wasn't getting any work done, I guess, basically. And I was like, yeah, dude, honestly, if my boyfriend took that many pictures of me dead asleep, I'd probably fucking I think I'd have to.
Yeah. I again, Charlotte is very very transparent about that stuff. Like I don't think this is any secret that Dave Meltzer needs to uncover. He's got to keep his mouth shut, especially when it comes to women.
Like, same vibe. Yeah, maybe Dave Meltzer can keep his nose out of women's business for 5 seconds. Asking much.
I also have a little piece of news. It's kind of an ongoing saga. For those unaware, Cesar Bononi, from AEW, his wife, I believe, has cancer, and they've been waiting on his sister-in-law to be able to fly from Brazil to Florida, but it was for I think an organ transplant. And his wife, in the meantime, has been undergoing chemo and all that. It's been rough for them, but they've been updating on social media this whole process. His sister-in-law got COVID at one point, so she wasn't able to fly up, and she had trouble getting a visa. But I believe today, Cesar Bononi updated one last time, saying that his sister-in-law, his wife's sister, has arrived, and they'll be able to take care of the organ transplant.
Good for him.
Yeah, really good stuff. Now we just need to hope that the transplant actually goes well.
You would hope after all the fucking hangups they've had so far.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell AEW's been looking out for them, because, like, there was one match between Cesar Bononi and Jon Moxley, which felt like it came out of nowhere, which was definitely done so that Cesar can get a nice paycheck out of it.
Yeah, that's good for them.
Yeah. So, matches and promos?
Yeah, if I can remember what color Raw is.
Purple. It's 205 live now, baby.
You know what? Fine. More interesting.
You know how WWE has like they have like the red brand, the blue brand, the yellow brand, the purple brand. They need a green brand.
I knew those words were gonna come out of your mouth. How?
No?
Um,
They should make NXT UK a different color that's not yellow.
it would work. I mean, because like Ireland.
Make it orange.
Oh, God, don't say that. Disgusting.
Or like a yellow orange. I mean I keep it kind of yellow or warm colors cuz it's NXT.
Ah, green. Say green.
Green. It
Yeah.
won't match the belts though.
Yeah, Shamrock Shake shaded NXT UK.
It'll be gold. NXT's yellow, NXT UK will be gold.
Fine.
All
We
right.
can't have that though until Sid Scala leaves. We'll have it.
All right, so Raw tonight. So we immediately started off with Mace and T-Bar versus Braun Strowman. After we had a little guerrilla promo between Braun and Drew. Drew originally asked for a handicap match, but Braun then yells at Drew to not let his emotions get the best of him. Calls Drew a kid. They continue bickering some more. Braun says, I can take these guys in a handicap match for myself. I'll show you. I don't need you. And then we have Mace and T-Bar versus Braun Strowman in a 1-on-2 handicapped match. Something you were looking forward to. Or at least seeing T-Bar and Mace. Because you got 2 chances at this.
Yeah, I know. So Braun is just pummeling T-Bar, slamming him into the buckles and what have you, while Mace shouts encouragements from the apron. We get a splash to T-Bar in the corner, and Braun takes Mace off the apron. It's fucking rude. Mace then gets tagged in, and it's Braun. A sideways leg drop. We get T-Bar back in. They're taking turns sending shots to a slunken down Braun in the corner. Once this free-for-all is over, we get Mace back in. There's a kick to Mace from Braun out of the corner, and T-Bar gets in. We get a shot to the face of T-Bar that's met with boots to the face from Braun. Boots to the face of Braun. Mace gets back in. He saves T-Bar from some punches. And then he and T-Bar go at Braun, beating him up for far too long. The match gets DQ'd. And then Drew comes out.
Yeah.
And then he attacks T-Bar. He throws Mace from the ring. And I said, oh man, that fucking sucks that they just ruined such a good match.
Yep. And then we have a little moment of camaraderie between them. Fucking Nat's still around. I swear to God, I'll murder you. Alright, I don't know what came over me. Yeah, we have a little moment of camaraderie, which didn't last very long. And then we have our second match. Mace and T-Bar versus Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman.
Alrighty. T-Bar fights out of a Future Shock DDT. Gets some elbows to T-Bar. Drew slaps T-Bar. T-Bar smacks Drew in the fucking face. His fist, I think. It was kind of funny. I appreciated it. Also appreciated seeing Mace and T-Bar without masks on today. It was kind of.
You mean not Dio and not Dijak?
Exactly, not Dio Madden.
Yeah.
Yeah. T-Bar goes for what looks like it's going to be a discus lariat, but meets a Glasgow kiss straight to the face. Just not the same without Samoa Joe. You get Mason. Mace hits like a spiral choke slam. I don't know what to call it, but it was cool. It was like a deep six. like looser.
Yeah, I'd say like a corkscrew choke slam.
Yeah, yeah. I felt like it was more of a spiral because he went in a circle as opposed to like twisting his body up, like and going more open.
Spinning choke
Yeah,
slam.
spinning could be a good word. Yeah. He then gets an arm sub on Drew, who reaches the ropes. Then there's a side Russian leg sweep to Mace. T-Bar gets in, Braun gets in. We get a shoulder tackle to Dijak and splashes in the corner. Drew gets back in, goes up and over the ropes, sends elbows to T-Bar, and then we get a flying clothesline to T-Bar and a kip up. We get a future shock DDT to T-Bar. Mace breaks the cover. Braun attacks Mace. Get the stupid train shit to Mace. He goes for T-Bar, but Drew clotheslines Braun in a way that was totally avoidable. But Drew is then counted out as Mace manages to make it back into the ring just in time. And he and T-Bar exchange a cute little hug. Then Braun power slams Drew. Yeah.
So, take a quick break from this horrible Raw. Renee yesterday tweeted, I asked John if he wanted to make fajitas for dinner. He said no, swiftly and confidently. So I just made some straight up baked chicken, and now he's eating it out of a damn tortilla. And then Eddie Kingston quote tweeted that with a gif of Will Ferrell shouting, "You're my boy." And then Renee replied to that saying, "Don't encourage this type of ludicrous behavior." And then Eddie Kingston quote tweeted that and said, "Okay, bet, I apologize and whatnot. Mox told me never argue with you." I just thought that was so funny. Alright, so after that match, we had Adam Pearce and Drew McIntyre backstage. Drew wants a match with Braun tonight. And Adam Pearce says, I think I can do that. I'm really hoping this tension between Adam Pearce and Sonya kind of just sets Pearce on one brand. Because Pearce, like on SmackDown, he looks super stressed and frustrated with everything. But on Raw, he looks like, I mean, when Sonya's not going behind his back, seems very chill.
This interaction was unintentionally the funniest shit I've ever seen because Drew's just like, I want a match with Braun. And Adam's like, yep. Yeah, I'm not fucking bothering with this anymore.
Yeah. Alright. After that, we had Miz TV with Elias as a special guest. Miz congratulates Bad Bunny on selling out the tour. He said it's all thanks to us. Elias then dedicates a song to Shane McMahon. They start singing horribly. Hey, hey, hop, hop. It was bad. It was real bad. Then it got broken up by the lights going out. And then Damian Priest walks out. There's no better trope in WWE than Elias' song getting cut off. Nothing better.
Yeah.
Damian Priest says he has a surprise. And the surprise is the match that's been booked and advertised this whole episode. Shocker. And so the New Day walks out. They have Xavier has his base case with him. And they open it up, say they have a surprise. They've got something. And they just hurl tomatoes at Miz Morrison and Elias. And Budget Steve Cutler.
I don't know who we're talking about.
Yeah. This would have been fine if Adnan hadn't used it as an excuse to give horrible Rotten Tomatoes jokes and puns during this whole thing.
I didn't hear that at all.
Oh, he did. He said, Oh, this is gonna get a 98% on the Rotten Tomatoes meter.
Okay, no, I appreciate it.
He then talked about the Academy Awards, saying that this would get an Academy Award because topical. If they had Adnan as a color commentator, he would be so much better. I feel like
I
the
think
play.
what they
Hmm?
I think what they should have done, at least because he is so new to everything, I think that they should have put Corey in Tom's place. Put Adnan in Corey's place. So Corey would have the lead. As
No,
much as I hate saying that.
they should have kept Tom because Corey's a great
I'm saying
commentator, but he's
I'm
not a play-by-play guy.
not saying obviously we would want to keep Tom.
Right.
I'm saying that as like your main person, if Tom is not the one that we can have,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Corey in any aspect of my life if I can avoid it. I think he would play a better lead role because he just has better. He's got a history.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Adnan came from completely different sport, is still trying to find his stripes in the middle of all this, and it's like it's not an easy brand to get off, on. Yep, it's not an easy brand to get over on. It's even as a commentator, I feel like
Right.
it's boring as shit. So if you aren't like the most vivacious, lively person, unfortunately, you are also going to be boring as shit. I mean, Byron's been boring as shit too. The only person that's not been boring has been fucking Graves.
It's because they're kind of relying on him to liven this whole brand up. He's been doing a good job at it. I mean, like he did a really good job with the women's tag match. Made that a lot livelier than it had any right to be. But my ideal setup for commentary would be on SmackDown. You got Cole, Pat, and Byron. On Raw, you've got Tom Phillips. I don't know why they moved him to 205 Live. Tom Phillips, Adnan, and Corey. I think that's a good combo.
But again, this is going under the assumption that Tom Phillips is not a movable part in this theoretical piece.
I just want to know why. I guess they moved him to 205 Live because he's like the only. He's the only play-by-play guy that's not like, because you got Cole who's super tenured, like the longest guy there, and then you've got Adnan who's got the commentary experience from so long at ESPN, and I guess Tom Phillips just suffers from, you know, being there the least amount of time. Thank God
I mean,
NXT isn't suffering at all.
the only reason he was moved was because he got in trouble. He was punished.
Was he punished?
Remember, he broke COVID protocol and then
Oh,
got moved.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh. Hmm. Just don't touch NXT. Wade and Vic are too good together, and then Beth is perfect where she is.
Left her out for a couple beats too long there, and I didn't care for that shit.
Miriam said Tom on 205 Live doesn't have the same energy with Nigel as Vic Joseph, so we're all suffering. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Tom is good on the long brand. He's good on the brand that's like everything's paced out slow. But yeah, don't change anything about NXT because that commentary team is gold.
That team, like, no one can touch that. That's golden. Yeah, I mean, I think Tom was good for Raw because Tom had like endurance for
Yeah.
it.
They should have moved Nigel McGuinness to Raw.
I would like Nigel on Raw.
He's perfect. Like he's one of the
I mean,
best
you
commentators.
can keep him on 205 and move him to Raw. 205 is only a half-hour commitment. That's not.
And NXT UK.
Yeah, okay, maybe we'd be stretching him a little far.
But he's not there for NXT UK. They
True.
never show the commentary desk.
There were so many better options than
Yeah.
exactly how they did it.
I think everyone that's there is good, but I think you just have Adnan not in the right position.
I think he's a victim of the WWE in a sense because, again, the way that Pat McAfee put it was they just kind of plunked him down. I mean, at least, as far as Pat McAfee is concerned, they just kind of plunked Pat down and said, microphone, wrestling ring, your partner, fun.
Yeah.
There was no trial or anything like that. So, like, if you're not somebody who's wrestled and not somebody who's been obsessed with wrestling, like it seems like Pat's been, I can't imagine that's easy.
I'm so excited for Friday just so I can gush over Pat on commentary some more.
It's so nice when he stands. He's excited.
He is so good. He's amazing on commentary.
It was easier when I hated him because I'm just like, Pat.
All right, so yeah, we finished Miz TV, and then we now have the New Day and Damian Priest versus Elias, Budget Steve Cutler, and the Miz. Actually, I'll do Budget Wesley Blake.
Weirdly enough, still don't know who you're talking about, so I only took notes on Elias and the Miz, but
Oh, weird handicap match.
yeah, look, there was things to Elias. I don't know what he did wrong.
Honestly, like, just real talk for a second. Elias is being held back a ton in the tag team that he's in. He's an incredibly talented wrestler that has, like, he has a lot of great chemistry with the guys backstage, or with other wrestlers. Putting him in this.
I was gonna say when he first came back, he was supposed to be getting a push.
Yeah. And now, for some reason, he's being punished like this. Like, I don't know what the hell he did, but
Broke his back. Remember back when Renee was still around and she was the one who broke the news about Elias breaking his back? The car accident, rather.
oh yeah, yeah.
Memories.
Remember the car accident?
Still don't think Sheamus did it. Still don't think it.
It was Sami. Sami Zayn obviously did it.
Maybe that'll come up eventually as Sammy unravels.
I think we're way past that point. WWE will try.
Long booking.
They will try as hard as they can to forget everything that happened during the pandemic and the Performance Center times. Except Drew winning the title.
So you don't think that we're going to get a replay of Sheamus getting piss thrown upon him?
Oh, I wish. Oh yeah, that was Sheamus.
Anyways. Elias and The Miz versus New Day and Damian. Elias starts by bonking Xavier around the ring. We get a big rolling elbow to Elias. Miz gets in. There's a lot of tags in this match, by the way, so bear with. Miz gets in. There's a drop toe hold to the Miz. Kofi gets in. Get the in-sync chops, some in-sync kicks. A double clothesline to the Miz. Xavier gets back in. We get a sliding clothesline to the Miz and a drop elbow off the ropes. Kofi gets in. A big elbow to Miz's shoulders off the ropes. Damian gets in after that. Damian's looking like a little king in this ring. Like, I keep feeling like this was one of Damian's best matches, but then like next match happens and I'm like, this was one of Damian's best matches.
Thought so? I didn't like notice.
I thought he looked
hot
awesome tonight.
Dude,
he was looking better than I think I've ever seen him look. And that's saying a lot because I think he always looks pretty fucking amazing. Yeah, it was just so, what's the word? What's the fucking word I'm looking for? I guess versatile? I don't know if that's the word I want. Nimble. Nimble. He was very nimble today. He trips a freshly legal Elias, dodges the Miz, but gets a kick to the back of his leg on the return. Very Matrixy, actually. It was like he went for a kick, or like went to take the Miz's legs out. Miz avoided it, thought he was like cool as shit. Damien turns around, kicks him in the leg still, and I was like, Damien, fuck. If he gets in, Miz and Elias are sent over the ropes. There's a big frog splash to Elias once we're back in the ring. The Miz gets in, stomps Kofi in the corner for a bit. Elias is then the catalyst in sending Kofi to the ringside area. And Kofi meets a boot to the face from Miz. Excuse me. Yanni. Miz starts pummeling Kofi back in the ring, and then while the ref is distracted, John Morrison shoves a tomato in the face of Kofi. Which I thought was actually quite gross.
Yeah.
Something about it just made me like a little.
I was gonna say, especially since they were pushing the narrative that these were rotten tomatoes.
Yeah. At one point, also, I noticed that Damien picked one up and got one like stuck around his thumb. Basically, like, he shoved his thumb into one accidentally, I think. And I was like, okay. Elias gets in, we get a corkscrew vertical suplex, and then wait, did I scroll too fast? No. Elias gets in, we get a corkscrew vertical suplex and a clothesline that nearly snaps the fucking neck of Kofi off. There's a big leg drop to Kofi. Then Kofi starts fighting back with some shots to Elias' face. The Miz gets in, stomps the Christ out of Kofi. Does his little Miz kicks. And then we get a skull-crushing finale that is countered with an SOS. There's a jumping back elbow to Elias. He goes for the... Damien gets in at this point. Sorry. There's a jumping back elbow to Elias. He goes for the broken arrow, and Elias escapes. We get a clothesline to Elias, however. Damien then, I don't know what was going on with my sweet prince, but he went over the ropes. It's to the top of the ropes. Like he goes up over onto the apron, up the top. His little leggies. He was slipping and sliding. His leggies were shaking. I don't know what was up with him.
Maybe there were.
Then he managed.
Maybe there was like tomato on his boots.
Or maybe on the ropes. I don't know.
They were thrown all over the place.
True. Something was slippery. He nearly fucked it all up, but still managed to get off a fantastic spinning back heel to Elias, in spite of everything. We get a kick to the face of Damien that breaks everything, or breaks up the cover. The kick is from The Miz. Covers on Elias. Xavier gets in. Elias dodges and sits on Xavier's head almost. I don't remember what Xavier was going for, but Elias jumped over the move. His ass just landed on Xavier, who already, when a certain somebody sent him down into a spine buster, sent him like tailbone first into the ground. And I have never seen Xavier look angry before.
Mm-hmm.
He looked pissed.
He censored something.
Like, genuinely pissed. And he shouted, "Ah, shit," very loudly. Like, to the point where the censor, I understood that they just cut the audio. But I could still hear it. My soul. So Damien gets in. He dives out onto Miz and Morrison in a very fluid little motion. Xavier gets in after that. Kofi holds Elias back from the ring while Xavier gets an inside cradle to win the match. If you think those notes didn't make sense, there's probably a reason. Whoopsie poopsie. But yeah, New Day and Damien win the match. Good for them. I just think Damien looked so fucking amazing tonight. It was unbearable.
So apparently the Miz was hit directly in the head by one of the tomatoes.
John Morrison was selling that shit like it was the end of days.
He was hitting the nuts.
He was hitting the nuts. I saw that happen.
But yeah, it was a pretty decent match.
It was alright.
Yeah.
Damien definitely saved it, I think, in my opinion.
I think Xavier too. Xavier was great. But after that, oh man, we had Sonya Deville backstage, and we see her she opens the door and lets Charlotte Flair in. And Charlotte Flair is supposed to be suspended with a $100,000 fine. And then next we see Sonya Deville in the ring. She introduces Charlotte Flair, and then she asks Eddie Orengo to come in. And this whole segment I thought was so fucking stupid.
I thought it was fun. I had a ton of fun.
I thought the segment was stupid as Braun.
Oh my god, no, this was fun. This was like Sonya's I'm back, bitch.
This was legit just fucking Charlotte apologizing, and that was it. Like that was the segment.
It was not the segment. You know what the segment was, and you will get to that part of the segment. It was not just the part of the segment that happened.
I didn't realize I was offending you. I'm sorry.
I've been offended.
But anyway, Sonya, she says Pierce's decision was too rushed, and so she would like Charlotte to apologize to Eddie Orengo for assaulting him last week. Charlotte apologizes to WWE management, WWE Universe, and Eddie. She wants to right her wrongs, so she apologizes. And I was expecting like a psych, like something Bailey would do, but no, like she actually gave like an apology. Eddie then accepts her apology, saying that it was his fault, that if he saw Rhea intervene, and Charlotte would have won the match. Sonya then lifts Charlotte's suspension, but then Charlotte says, "So you just said it's your fault. So I want you to apologize." And then Eddie apologizes. Charlotte says, "Good boy." And then that's it. A little frustration from Eddie, but it seems...
Eddie looked like he got slapped in the face in the ring. Like, he just stood there like...
And then he was told he had to ref the match later for Charlotte. But the reason I'm kind of annoyed with this segment was just because, like, what's the point in suspending her if you're just going to bring her back next week?
I do get that. I think the reasoning was... I almost think the reasoning was in part for Sonya. Kind of establish this new... the idea that she's kind of getting more screen time and more of a personality again.
But also, it's weird that we're seeing Sonya on Raw. I just realized. She's on SmackDown only.
Yeah, actually, I did notice that. I thought that was a little funky.
I don't know. We'll see what comes of it. I think they still could have waited like another week before doing this. So after that, we have Sonya and Charlotte go back to Gorilla. Adam Pearce is waiting for them. Sonya immediately apologizes to Adam Pearce, but Adam Pearce says he doesn't believe her apology and storms out. I'm excited. Like, this Sonya Adam Pearce storyline is probably my favorite thing going on right now in the entirety of WWE. Probably the only storyline in the main roster I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm looking
see.
forward to finding out what the fuck they're gonna do with Mason T-Bar.
Jobbers. After that, we have Braun Strowman, Adam Pearce backstage. Braun says, he said, "Oh, you didn't get pinned in the #1 contender match in the triple threat. That was Randy. It wasn't me. In the match later against Drew, if I win, I want to be in the match at Backlash. Make it a triple threat." Braun.
Doing Scott Steiner math over here. It's like,
And that spells disaster for you at Sacrifice. We gotta have
like,
the next Sacrifice pay-per-view that there is. Samoa Joe has to be a part of it, and you have Rick Steiner.
Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner. I don't know. Oh wait, Rick Steiner's his son, right?
That was his brother.
Oh. Well, Scott Steiner comes back for just a guest appearance. Delivers that promo again.
But like straight up, as Braun was speaking, I was like, I don't know what the fuck this guy is getting at right now. Like, maybe it's because when I get close to the camera, I can see how tired I look, and it's so sad. Stay all the way back here. But I don't know if it was because I was tired, but like Braun was like going through like these mental gymnastics, and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, he was like, "Who lost that match last week in the triple threat match with me, Drew, and Randy? It wasn't me. It was Randy. Randy lost. I didn't get pinned. So, I am still in contention for the title. Not just Drew. And so, in the match with Drew, I want to, 16% chance of winning."
And like, the thing is it was more complicated than that. Even when we make fun of it, it was more complicated than that. So I was like, trying to follow it, and then I was like, no, this doesn't make sense.
But I think Braun's just realizing WWE protecting someone, that he was protected by not getting pinned, and he's using that to his advantage. But after that, we had Sheamus talking in the ring. Sheamus was like the one thing I was looking forward to today. Sheamus said that he didn't even let the bell ring last week. Before taking down Humberto. Because Humberto doesn't belong in the ring with the United States champion. And so, he said he's a generous fella. And so he's gonna do it again. The open challenge. Except that it won't be for the title. I love this. It's Sheamus being like so petty, but just like he's doing an open challenge each week, but it's not for the title. I love it. And then Humberto Carrillo comes out. Sheamus.
Or Sheamus likes to call him Humberto Carrillo.
No, it was Humberto Crayon. Crayola. Crayola. Humberto Crayola.
You called him Carrillo. I made fun of him for calling him. I said Humberto Crayola.
Okay. And then Sheamus gives Humberto a cheap shot, starts wailing on him, but then Humberto fights back and sends Sheamus over the announce desk, leaving him stunned. Humberto walks out. Sheamus can't believe it. I am just glad Humberto is getting some TV time now. But where the fuck is Keith Lee?
Yeah, I kind of thought that like we get another challenge tonight, we get another challenger, and then next week Keith Lee would come out.
Do you think Backlash will be all triple threats? We got.
Oh God, I hope not. I hate triple threats so much.
We'll have Braun, Bobby, and Drew, Asuka, Rhea, and Charlotte. Bianca, Sasha, and Bailey. And now Sheamus, Umberto, and Keith Lee.
Okay, sure. Fine. I'll take it.
Chock full of triple threats. Alright, so after that, we then have MVP and Bobby in a backstage interview. Braun Strowman. Wait. Oh. MVP says that Braun Strowman hasn't been added to any matches yet. The reality is, the reality is myself and Bobby have some grievances to address. And he says, I'm sure you wanted me to give you a nice hot leak of something that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen. And so they walk out. Rhea Ripley is then interviewed. She says that despite Charlotte's apologies never meaning anything, she enjoyed Charlotte getting fined. Tonight, though, she's focused on the tag match. Don't know why. Don't know why it matters so much to her, but whatever. And then we have Bobby Lashley and MVP out in the ring. Bobby says that he did what he said he'd do. He walked into WrestleMania a champ, and he walked out of WrestleMania WWE champ. But Drew is like a piece of gum on his shoe now. Now he has to defend against Drew again. And now it could be a triple threat. MVP just asked repeatedly why they would do that. Why they would do that. And they acknowledged something. I wasn't sure if it was in this promo or the previous promo. Might have been a little later on. Where MVP acknowledges the fact that Bobby lost the United States Championship in a triple threat, and that's why they don't want to do a triple threat anymore. I like it. It shows another reason why MVP is the best thing about Raw. MVP then says any decision made without our opinion is disrespectful. Bobby has been the almighty WWE champion for 56 days. Both Braun and Drew know that Bobby can beat them one-on-one anytime. But MVP and Bobby will have to observe their business interests later during that match. And then we have an interview with Riddle. He said he feels awesome about winning against Randy. This is when we had like 45 minutes straight of just promos. We don't have any matches for 45 minutes, maybe 50. He says he's on cloud 12. Randy then walks in. Says, I don't know what planet you're from. He says Earth. Randy says, shut up. He says, you and I have nothing in common. Riddle says, we're from the United States. Randy says, shut up. He says, I underestimated you last week. You've earned my respect. I want to give this tag team of yours, RK Bros, a try. Riddle is about to say something. Randy just goes. So although this tag team is like, I do love Randy just like not wanting to hear Riddle speak at all.
I can appreciate that, but like, God, I don't.
But from a storyline perspective, what the fuck is going on with Fiend and Randy? I thought we were going back to that. The whole thing was that we weren't moving away from it. Right?
They made Alexa Bliss his enemy, and they were like, oh shit, we don't do mixed matches. Anyways.
Oh, I forgot. Randy made a point to say like 5 times last week that he's past the Fiend.
Yeah. Which means, what the fuck is the Fiend gonna do now?
The Fiend, I don't know, because Alexa Bliss is going to like the women's scene now. Ooh, do you think the Fiend's gonna go for the WWE title after Backlash? That'd be interesting. Maybe SmackDown?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, is he gonna just take his creation and leave it there?
His creation, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
I think he's over Alexa Bliss at this point. I think he fucking hates Alexa Bliss. And apparently Alexa Bliss has always been like that, according to that one promo.
Sake.
But after that, we then have Nia, Shayna, and Reginald backstage. Shayna says to Nia, "No more distractions." That goes for you, Reginald. Shayna walks out. Nia is then handed flowers by somebody, some random dude.
Woman, I think.
I thought it was a guy who handed it to her.
It was a woman.
I was sworn it was. Oh wait, yeah, it was a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
Nia says, "Oh, you shouldn't have, Reginald. This is so sweet." And Reginald's like, "No, I didn't do that." Props to Reginald for being honest. He could have easily taken the credit. Yeah. Then Angel Garza walks in and says that he was the one that did it. Puts the schmooze on her. And then Nia and Reginald walk away. Nia, as soon as Mandy and Dana are on the screen in the frame, do you want to recite what she says?
She screams, "Put these in water, bitch."
And then smacks him with the flowers. And then just walks away. Unprovoked. Unprovoked.
It was the best part is that she's so in love with these fucking flowers, and she's like, "Oh my god, these are so nice! Like, oh my god, thank you." And then on a dime, she's just like, "Put these on, bitch."
There was no need. There was no need to include that. Wait, what if that wasn't supposed to happen and Mandy and Dana were just like there? And then Nia took the opportunity.
This was a perfect fucking promo. I loved it. It was stupid as shit and it was perfect.
It was. It really was. Alright, so then we have Braun and MVP backstage. Braun says, if you talk MVP said something coming in. I didn't write it down though. I didn't hear it. But Braun says, if you talk to me like that, you're gonna have a tough time speaking for the rest of your life. Okay. MVP says Bobby doesn't appreciate Braun's groveling. Braun then says, if Bobby has something to say, he can say it to my face. After I beat Drew tonight, there's nothing Bobby or you can do to stop me walking out WWE champion. Braun. And new WWE champion. Braun. I hope Shane interferes in the match and then just walks away saying that. We haven't seen Shane at all.
Yeah, we only needed him for that bit.
He just wanted to have his WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have Randy Orton and Riddle, the RK Bros, versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Oh, it's so sad that they've become jobbers now.
It doesn't. No. I could just hear fucking Cedric's walkout in full for a little bit. That'd be swell.
Also, you want to know a quick fact?
Sure, love a quick fact.
NXT has been a brand longer than WCW Monday Night Nitro.
Oh.
Yeah. Nitro ran from 1995 to 2001, so 6 years. NXT technically began in 2010. But if you wanna count it when it was officially a wrestling brand, started in 2015. So, yeah. Oh, a year longer.
Oh, well, good for them.
So, the match.
Yeah, I guess. I just finally put on a little more lipstick. Stone Cold Beer keeps wiping it off. Just want to let everyone know that Mark and I drove for 3 hours, and the one thing we got out of it, we found Stone Cold's beer.
Yeah.
Which was easy to find in my podunk hometown than it has been to find here.
Well, to be fair, we haven't really gone to any beer place around here recently.
Yeah, but I go on Drizzly a lot.
Yeah, you go on Drizzly. With like, you go on Drizzly and search like grocery stores, not like beer stores.
No, that's not true. A lot of places are beer places. There's not like a package store out here.
There definitely is. There's a place called Beer Garden, which is not the beer garden that's a bar. There's a beer garden that's like a beer warehouse.
Like, that's far away, and I'm not carrying like a full like handful of beer back.
Got carts.
It's not a big place either, so like bringing a cart into it's like a bitch.
Anyway.
All right. We start with Riddle and Shelton. We get a gut wrench takedown that goes into a gut wrench suplex and then a dragon screw on Riddle. Sorry, we started with Cedric. The takedown and the suplex were on Cedric, and then we get a dragon screw on Riddle. Shelton gets tagged in. We get some punches to Riddle and a near rope break from Mr. Riddle that Shelton handily drags him away from. Shelton then falls like with Riddle's foot on his shoulder and inverts his knee basically, and I was like, oh my god, that's disgusting, and I love seeing it. Cedric gets in. We get Cedric hyperextending the Christ out of Riddle's knee. Shelton gets in. I don't know what he did. I think he just stomped on Riddle for a little bit. Cedric got back in. He's attacking the leg of Riddle, gets Shelton in to continue twisting that leg up. We get a step-up knee strike to Shelton, and then we get Randall in. Randall starts us off with a clothesline and a nice little jog into that clothesline that made him look like a fucking newborn foal with the grace and athleticism he displayed in that moment. We got some uppercuts to Shelton, and then Randy trips Shelton up. We get a spinning back heel to Mr. Benjamin. Then Randall goes down into Randall position, which is leather ass in the air, fists on the ground, breaking those shoulders in half. Randall doesn't actually get the RKO on Shelton. Cedric goes off the top rope, flies down onto Randy, who RKOs him out of fucking nowhere.
That was so
good. It was clean. It was fucking clean. I don't know what Cedric was doing flying head first out of anywhere, but fucking clean. Shelton is then sent to the outside. On the way in, we get a Draper DDT to Shelton. Not an exciting one, but one nonetheless. Then Riddle gets tagged in, finishes off the match with a floating bro. Randall and Matt Riddle to win. Part of my own. Just like yawn myself into like a new day. Wow. What was the end of the match?
Oh. Huh.
I said to win.
And then right after that we have Asuka and Lana and Naomi versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley.
Was there no promos between those two?
None. I think a commercial break.
Okay. We start with Shayna and Asuka. Rhea gets in right after that at Asuka's behest. There's a knee strike to the face of Rhea. Naomi gets in. She splashes Rhea in the corner. Lana gets in. The team takedown to Rhea. Lana avoids the inverted Alabama slam to roll through and take Rhea down. A headbutt to the face of Lana and then a vertical suplex to Lana. Then the body scissors are applied. Then Dana and Mandy come out. got a funny little prank. And
Just throw in a fucking bucket.
Shayna decides Nai's not getting fucking involved because I'm so sick and tired of that shit. So she goes and confronts them. They throw a bucket of water, including the fucking bucket.
Throw the bucket?
At Shayna. Which, one, if I was in the middle of a fucking super physical wrestling match, a bucket of water on my torso would actually be quite nice. Two, Shayna's hair already looks wet, so if the objective was to ruin her hair or something like that, job done. And then Nia comes through and falls in the water.
Normally, if you throw some water on somebody, you just woo. You don't.
Yeah, what was the plan? You hold it from the front, you hold it from the bottom, and swoosh.
I think the
You don't
plan
just launch.
the plan initially was to just throw the bucket at Shayna, but the bucket just happened to be filled with water too.
It was probably outside in the rain.
Yeah.
What'll happen? It's hard to notice it.
Well, it turns out actually that wasn't water. It was bronze sweat.
Oh God, stop! That's
vile. It only took 2 seconds to fill it up.
That's why when MVP was like talking to him, he was doing those workouts. He was sweating into a bucket underneath like the camera.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So Nia falls in it, and it's like for a whole fucking second, I was like, maybe I would rather watch SmackDown karaoke. Maybe that was like I was meant to be watching. More so than this. Back in the ring, we get Shayna versus Lana. Shayna's breaking the old elbow of Lana. Asuka gets in. We get a stunner to Nia and then a hip attack to Shayna. There's a kick to the head of Shayna, and Shayna ducks a rolling kick. Asuka gets right on up. No, she doesn't. I fucked up. Shayna ducks a kick from Asuka, rolls Asuka up instead in a very fluid motion, but it doesn't like do anything. She rolls her up, and Asuka just immediately stands up afterwards. We get a knee strike to the face of Asuka, and then Nia gets in. There's a power slam to Asuka and a big old elbow drop. The Samoan drop to Asuka, and then Asuka dodges Nia, sends elbows into Nia, and Naomi gets in. Get a crossbody Nia off the ropes and several strikes before a kick off the second rope. She slams Nia's face into the mat with her legs, and then Rhea gets him. She pancakes Naomi. Asuka breaks the cover. Rhea sends her out. Naomi goes up and over Rhea's shoulder. Drags in Lana. We get a riptide to Naomi. Lana crossbodies Rhea. We get double knees to the back of Rhea against the ropes. Rhea then picks up Lana as Asuka fights Shayna and Nia on the ringside area. We get a riptide to Lana. Nia gets in, hits the leg drop, and Lana does not win. Nia, Shayna, and Rhea win the match.
Yeah. 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 This is a pretty good match. It's pretty good. I mean, I could even excuse the whole Mandy Dana bit because I thought throwing the bucket was hilarious. Even though that wasn't the punchline. To me, that was the punchline.
That part was funny in retrospect, but in the moment I was just like, this is the cringiest shit I've ever had to fucking sit through.
Yeah. But the match in the ring was solid. Like, it's probably Rhea's best performance since joining the main roster. As sad as that is. But afterwards we have Mandy, Rose, and Dana Brooke backstage with Sonya Deville. Sonya's scolding Dana and Mandy for playing pranks on Nia. She says Charlotte needs an opponent tonight, and she inserts Mandy into that. Still being a petty bitch to Mandy. Love it. And then we have Alexa's Playground. At first,
I had no idea
And then Lily. She says think of something horrifying or something dark. Think of something dark. And we said, okay, Monday Night Raw. And then she said, think of something peaceful. And we said, okay, the moment Raw ends. And then we got a jump scare. Lily.
It was so stupid because it's like, I was explaining this to you. Not explaining, but like talking about it with you. Where it's like, in a movie where there's a jump scare, which I think jump scares are cheap as shit anyways. In a movie where there's a jump scare, it's like, you're not calm. You're like in a dark room and there's nothing happening. And you're like, I know something's going to happen. And then something happens and you're like, oh, fuck. In this, they were just like, I'll think of something bright and happy and take a deep breath and blah, blah. And then, ah! And I was like,
Yep. And then, she said, Lily is ready to play with the rest of WWE. Said, Lily made me do it. I don't know what that's referring to. I only paid half attention to this because I'm so tired of Alexa's recaps.
It took, apparently, I think according to Sean Ross Sapp, it took from Charlotte's walkout the next match. And between Charlotte's walkout and the match starting,
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Really long time to lead up. Imagine if you were sitting at a wrestling match. It took 7 minutes from the first opponent's walkout for the match to fucking start with nothing actually happening in between that has to do with the match.
Just the song looping for 7 minutes.
What would you do? It's a long ass fucking time. Just sit.
Stare at Charlotte.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Eddie Orengo.
How could you not?
So after that, we then have Charlotte Flair versus Mandy Rose, and actually a pretty solid match. Because Mandy and Dana here aren't looking like two fucking just Barbies in their stupid pink ass gear. Awful.
Because Mandy's a good wrestler and Dana isn't.
Yep. Oh, well, Dana has potential.
Dana's a good wrestler, but Dana has not been a good wrestler.
Right. Yeah. And also their pink gear is fucking awful.
Sometimes I wonder if that's like a commentary on how they are like backstage. 9 times out of 10, good matches come from good chemistry.
Right.
Have good chemistry with somebody, you're gonna probably have a good match. So that just mean that Dana has no chemistry with any of the other wrestlers?
We haven't seen her wrestle that much lately, though. Like,
That's
not
true.
that I can remember, at least.
Just so much of her shit is like fancy dancy, blah blah blah, and then nothing really for the payoff, I guess. I don't know. So Charlotte starts by trying to break Mandy's wrist. Mandy cartwheels free, gets the same hold on Charlotte. Cartwheels free, and then slams Mandy to the ground. Mandy eventually tries a jackknife cover on Charlotte, but Charlotte bridges out of it. She clotheslines Mandy to the ground, tries a dirty pin, but Dana calls her out because Dana can't keep her goddamn mouth. Mandy then drop kicks Charlotte, spears her in the corner. We get a hit check to the face of Mandy. Charlotte puts Mandy up top, receives a boot to the face, and we get a missile drop kick to Charlotte. Mandy starts beating Charlotte up in the corner for a little while. There's a headbutt to Charlotte that eventually nearly throws her into Eddie Orengo. Charlotte gets mad at him for simply existing, which, you know, fine. Good for you, buddy. Or should I say sweetheart? He kicks Mandy in the face. Charlotte then covers on Mandy. Eddie only counts to 2 before Mandy kicks out, and Charlotte's pissed as shit about that as well. She tells Eddie how to count. It's very informative. While she's doing this, she gets rolled up. Then she breaks free. We get a knee strike to the face of Charlotte. Backbreaker to Mandy. Then Charlotte sends her face first into the buckles. Finally, we get a natural selection to Mandy for Charlotte to win cleanly. And Eddie Arango tries to lift her hand and she just swats him away. And then Eddie Arango helps her out of the ring. And I said, God, I wish I were her.
Also, real quick, Mansoor announced on social media that he is now married.
Alrighty. Good job, Mansoor.
Yeah, seemed like one of those low-key things. Probably because it's COVID or something.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess, like, normally, I think the reason I'm kind of surprised is because I was like, normally I'll see that kind of stuff on, like, Wrestle Talk. Like, just, like, announcements that people were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
That's, good for him. Happy marriage.
I literally found out because 205 Live tweeted about it.
At least they love him.
True. He's their biggest attraction.
One day we'll see him. One day we'll see him back on the main roster.
Maybe. All right. So after that, we then have an interview with Drew McIntyre. Unfortunately, he says Braun says, "You get these hands, not these handouts." He's not going to screw things up for me, and it will only end one way, with a Claymore. And then we have Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre, where if Braun wins, the match at Backlash will be a triple threat.
All right, let's get the fuck into this. All right, so we get a shoulder tackle to Strowman that is no-sold. Braun then shoulder tackles Drew, and Drew gets fucking flattened. We get a drop kick to the feet of Braun, and then some elbow drops onto Braun's knee. Drew goes up top and over the ropes. Drew goes up and over the ropes, then goes all the way up top. He then is lifted and hurled by Braun, and at this point, as Braun is getting ready for his little choo-choo train, Bobby Lashley comes out, turning the moment. Go to commercial, we come back. Drew gets shot into the buckles. Braun goes for the running power slam, but Drew wiggles free and gets a headlock on Braun. He dodges Braun and sends him into the buckles. Get an overhead belly-to-belly suplex, but surprisingly only one. It's funny how that works out. Then get a neck breaker to Braun, and then a Claymore attempt is met with Claymore attempt, I believe, at this point, unless I'm mistaken, and I don't think I am, goes for it and ends up with his legs around Braun's fucking neck.
Yeah, it was a little weird. What was he aiming at?
It was a high Claymore that he was going for there.
I mean, to be fair, he does always hit their head.
True. You're right. Gets power bombed, and then Drew stops Braun from clubbing his chest. Pushes his arm away. We get a Glasgow kiss to Strowman and a spine buster to Braun. Drew and Braun start exchanging blows while Drew sits up top. And then we get maybe the scariest moment of the match, in my opinion, which was a superplex to Drew that made it look like Drew landed on his fucking head.
And Braun landed right on his tailbone.
Yeah. Drew landed like right up here, like back of his neck.
It was not a good landing.
It was, and they commented on it saying like that was almost a brain buster, and I was like, thank God it fucking wasn't. It just was, and Drew did not get enough of a tuck going over, I think.
Yeah.
So when he ended up going down, he ended up going down. I was like, I didn't even notice what happened to Braun because I was just watching Drew on every single replay, just like, oh my God. I'm glad he's moving.
Yeah.
So Braun then clubs Drew's chest successfully, and Bobby goes to get involved. Spider, the referee, stops him. MVP saves Drew from the running power slam. Get a future shock DDT to Braun. T-Bar and Mace then come out of the woodwork because they just can't get fucking enough of what's going on in the match. Need more content for their Twitter game, which, you know what, fine. I'm not mad. They get just immediately fucking punched out of the way by Drew. Then we get the running power slam to Drew for Braun to win.
And next week we're probably going to get Bobby versus T-Bar or Mace. Yeah, because yeah, they ensured that Drew wouldn't win, and Bobby wanted Drew to win.
Well, I don't think their aim was for that, but I wonder if we'll actually get Bobby versus Braun.
No, I don't think they would, because that would somehow result in like a clean pin, and they don't want like a clean pin before a big title match.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, T-Bar may seem to be on the Hurt Business payroll, so I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't know if they are.
I know
anymore.
MVP. I know MVP keeps saying like, "Oh, they're not," and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're lying to.
You see, I never believed them in the first place. Like I believed MVP. I never thought they were part of Her Business.
I don't know what they're doing. They just seem really interested in being a part of this.
I think they're just mad at Drew because Drew made enemies in the locker room when he challenged everyone.
Okay.
But that's our episode. That's Raw today.
We did it, boys.
We did it. Somehow.
Another 100,000 and a million, one more episodes to go. Maybe one day it'll get better. As if what, Marcus?
As if Vince would ever end it.
That's why I meant it'll probably keep going until we fucking die.
Probably. Except it'll be like WWE Monday Night AEW.
Fine, maybe it'll be fun. Tony have same last name for both men.
All right, so promo of the night. All right, so I already know what my pick is, but we started off with Braun and Drew in Gorilla. That was kind of lame. Although I do like kind of sensible Braun. Sensible Braun has been really good, where he's just like, you act with your emotions. Like, I can do this myself, yada yada yada. It's been pretty decent. Then we had Miz TV, which is practically unwatchable. Sonya Deville with Charlotte. That was good, but thinking of it for like the suspension, I still think they could have waited a week. What?
I lost your audio for like 90% of what you just said, and then you froze. Then I heard a little ping.
Oh, well, we're getting some dropped frames right now.
I imagine.
I don't know what's going on with the internet, but well, anyway, so Sonya and Charlotte, that promo where she apologizes to Eddie, it was good, a good performance from Charlotte, but I can't help but think about like they could have waited another week for this, like, to lift the suspension. I feel like it's way too soon for that. But then we have Adam Pearce, Sonya, and Charlotte and Gorilla. And this is why I think better about lifting the suspension, because it sows these seeds between Pearce and Sonya. And then we have Braun and Pearce backstage. That was whatever. Sheamus in the ring being confronted by Humberto. That was nice, getting Humberto some screen time and giving Sheamus a challenge, but where's Keith Lee? Then we have MVP and Bobby backstage, an interview. That was whatever. Rhea Ripley interview. That's whatever. Bobby Lashley and MVP in the ring. That was fine. The Riddle interview, whatever. And Nia, Shayna, and Reginald backstage when Nia gets the flowers, smacks them on Mandy and Dana. This was great. This was so funny. This was the most I laughed in this entire episode. Oh, it was the best. Can't top this. Can't top it. Then we had Braun and MVP backstage. That was fine. Nice little acknowledgement of Bobby disliking triple threats. Then we had Mandy, Dana, and Sonya. That's fine. Alexa's Playground. And then the Drew interview. Whatever. Gotta be smacking the flowers on Mandy and Dana. It's gotta be.
I think the best part of that was the way the flowers just fucking exploded. It was actually quite beautiful.
It was. It was. I'm seeing people saying like, "Oh, poor Angel Garza. He just gave those flowers to Nia. Now they're ruined." But it's like she got enjoyment out of them.
In two forms. First, she was flattered, and then she got to use them for spite.
Yeah.
Also, can I just quickly say that Sonya promo with Mandy gave me so much life because it reignited that feud that we had been kind of sitting on. I was like, yes. And then Sonya also called them out for all the shit that we've been saying. She was like, you guys are being bullies now. And I was like, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was going crazy over here. But no, my other dark-haired bitch had something to say about it, and this is why I love her.
Is Shayna not your other dark-haired bitch?
Shayna is my other dark-haired bitch. Because dark-haired bitches gotta stick together.
Right.
Them's the rules.
Alright, so now Wrestler of the Night. Alright, so where did we start? T-Bar and Mace versus Braun Strowman. I went with T-Bar. I don't remember why. Then we had T-Bar and Mace versus Drew and Braun. I think I went with Mace purely for that spinning choke slam. Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't an expression aimed at you. I was just trying to see if I could make this eyebrow go up.
Oh, I was wondering what that expression was. Then we had The New Day and Damian Priest versus Elias, Budget, Steve Cutler, and The Miz. I picked Xavier. Xavier, he looked great. He was all over the place. Loved it. He's always so full of energy.
I don't agree with you on that. I won't make any bones about it until I need to.
Hmm?
I said I don't agree with you on that, but I won't make any bones about it until I need to.
Okay. Then we had Randy Orton and Riddle versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. What did I go with for this? I went with Randy Orton. Randy's fucking great. I mean, just the expressions he pulls off in a match, and like how well he just keeps his character up in a match. His movements are so fluid. He's such a great wrestler.
Yes.
And that RKO onto Cedric as he's leaping from the turnbuckle.
It was like a classic RKO.
Yeah. He nailed that. Both of them nailed that. So after that we had Asuka and Lana and Naomi versus Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Rhea Ripley. I picked Rhea. She looked great today. She looked like the best we've seen her since she joined the main roster. Yeah, it felt like she found her stride. And that finish was great too. When she kind of messed up the riptide at first, but then nailed it at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Or not messed it up, but I think Lana broke out of it. I think it was Lana or Naomi.
Lana did get riptided.
Yeah, I think it was Lana.
I don't know if she went for one, and then I think she went for one, and Lana broke out of it.
Lana was actually fantastic in that match too. I think the real chemistry is Lana and Rhea Ripley.
A lot of people are also saying it's Rhea and Naomi.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Backlash, Rhea Ripley, Lana and Naomi triple threat.
There you go. That's an option.
You never have tag teams participate in triple threats. You would think that would be like a more common thing. Just be like, okay, so we have like a 66% chance of winning this match. It spells disaster for Bobby Lashley at Sacrifice.
Oh, that joke's never gonna get fucking old with me, is it?
Alright, so after that we had Charlotte Flair versus Mandy Rose. Charlotte looked great. That's all you need to say. Charlotte looked great.
It did look really good.
Then we had Drew McIntyre versus Braun. I'll give it to Drew, mainly because Braun really messed up that superplex.
He almost killed Drew. That wasn't very cool of him.
He almost killed Drew and like condensed his own spine.
Yeah. We have gone a couple inches short on that one.
Yeah. He's no longer the monster among men. He's just the man among men.
Oh no.
Oh man. Wrestler tonight. No. Nobody's popping out. I might have to do elimination again. It's not T-Bar.
I'm in the elimination chamber.
I'll do my elimination chamber. It's not T-Bar. It's not Mace.
Fucked.
It's not Drew. It's not Xavier.
Okay, so I can lower my fucking flags.
It's not Rhea. It's gonna be Randy. I think Randy again.
God, we can't do this. Now we look like we're asking.
Fine, I'll make it Charlotte.
No, I mean, I was going to agree with you on Randy.
You know what? Let's do. I'll concede with Rhea. Do Rhea.
Yeah, okay. Ray actually looked really improved tonight, and I finally felt like I was watching NXT Rhea as opposed to whatever the fuck she had been the last couple of weeks. And I'm sure a lot of that was just nerves, but
Nerves in front of a crowd, but also like even the Monday after didn't look too hot.
Yeah, the last few weeks she's looked a little iffy.
Yeah. And now match of the night. Let's see. Mason T-Bar versus Braun, ending in DQ. No. It ain't it, Chief. T-Bar and Mace versus Drew and Braun, ending in countout. It ain't it, Chief. New Day and Damian Priest versus Elias, Budget, Steve Cutler, and Miz. It was a pretty fun match. It was pretty fun. Elias gave a hell of a show. And then Damian and the New Day are always great to watch. Miz, I can't even remember a single moment Miz was in the ring. In all honesty. I forgot he was in the match. After that, we had 45 minutes in promos. And then we had Randy Orton and Riddle versus Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin. Really fun match. So if they keep going down this route, Cedric and Shelton will be the best jobbers in the company.
It's so sad.
It really is. But yeah, really fun match. Randy and Riddle actually have really good chemistry. But not just in like the we're a great team chemistry, but like a mix of that plus we also hate each other chemistry. Because it's not like pure hate. Randy's just like he doesn't want to hear Riddle speak. It really showed in the match. That was really well done. But then we had Asuka and Lana and Naomi versus Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Rhea Ripley. I don't care what anyone says. That water bit made me cackle. Just throwing the whole bucket. Nia slipping was that was dumb, but just throwing the whole ass bucket at Shayna.
It was funny, but not why it was supposed to be funny.
Right. The punchline was the bucket. It wasn't Nia slipping. But the match itself was actually really great. Yeah. Like Lana, Naomi, and Asuka looked fantastic. Shayna actually looked more like old Shayna than she has looked. Nia looked pretty decent too. She still has the leg drop though, which is whatever. But I do like when she pins with the leg drop. That's a nice pin. And then Rhea looked fantastic, just like we already mentioned. So all around, really good stuff, except for the Nia slipping bit. They're trying to milk this so hard. Then we had Charlotte Flair versus Mandy Rose. Solid match. Really all you can say. It's just solid. Nothing stood out.
But it was good to see a match that was just solid and not like stupid.
Right. And then we had Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman. Fun match. Really fun match, actually. Mason T-Bar getting involved was a little, just because it's another distraction. But Drew getting pinned brings up very interesting questions. And it definitely makes the Backlash match much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that said, my pick for match of the night. Am I going to do it? Am I going to give it the women's tag scene? Gonna?
I think you might be.
Alright, yeah. Lana, Naomi, and Asuka versus Nia, Shayna, and Rhea. You agree?
I'm happy to give it to that.
If we just like delete from our minds Nia slipping on the water and just have Dana hurling a bucket at Shayna and leaving, then it's perfect.
Yeah, it's fine if we can just cut that out of our memories.
Yeah. The funny thing is like Nia slipped twice and then just got back to fighting. Like, what was the point?
Like, was it overcoming the bullying? Is that what that was?
Who's the bully here?
Mandy and Dana.
I think the bully is Vince McMahon.
Always, but in this particular instance.
The bully is Sheamus.
How dare you say that?
He is a bully. Let's be honest, he's a bully.
The only bullying he's doing is making me see him in that stupid fucking coat. Not letting this go.
Alright, so to run it back, promo of the night. Nia whops Dana in the face and Mandy. Wrestler of the night, Rhea Ripley. Match of the night, Asuka, Lana, and Naomi versus Nia, Shayna, and Rhea Ripley. Wow. The women dominated this one. Nia Jax almost dominated it. That's
I'm happy
shocking.
about that. We don't get that very often.
Don't. Really don't. Alright. You want to close out the show so I can go to sleep?
Anyways, thank you for watching tonight. If you watched tonight, thank you. And if you watched in the future, thank you. We really appreciate it. Really fun for us. Please join us. Please join me tomorrow. Tell your mom, tell your friends, tell your dog. I'll be fucking alone. Oh, any support counts. I will be doing our NXT podcast from Mark's position, actually, but without Marcus. So, unfortunately, that's going to be the case. If you keep listening to me, then probably don't tune in tomorrow.
If you hate listening to Liz, tune in so you can make fun of her.
I mean, yeah, if you want to see me cry live on air, that'd be fine.
Give us the views.
Woman breaks down on camera. But yeah, please tune in. And then Marcus will be back with us on Friday for iTog Evening SmackDown. Yeah. So join us tomorrow. Peace.
Yep. Thank you all for watching. Follow, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you're missing out on checking out all of our past podcasts that are available on Twitch. You don't have to wait for me to upload them. They're available right now. Right now. Although I think they do expire after like 15 or 16 days. But miss one. Check it out on Twitch. Subscribe. Our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast. See that right down below. Our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. You can check out everything, all of our past videos from the very first one that we've done. Don't though. My Twitter is at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. New episode of the Universal Pokemon Federation will be out this Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, premiering on YouTube. If you missed the premiere, you can still catch it on YouTube. You won't want to miss it. It'll be some great stuff. All right. Thank you all for watching. Liz, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic evening.